I just like this statement, generally speaking. If you're new to a project, things should take time, right? There's a lot, like, again, if you can just instantaneously be useful, I don't know how deep your moat is. Gosh, is that true? Is that true? What I mean by that is, hear me out on this one. When I was working at Workiva, it's still what I'd consider my hardest, most technical job I've ever had. We had this thing called the viewer. And the viewer, this would run on an iPad too, by the way. You could touch and you could zoom in, you could zoom out, and all the equations were in JavaScript. And my first bug was something to do with, like, when dragging this way, there's a problem. And on day one at my job, I got a bug, I got a computer, and I solved a bug day one. And it's because the code base, though a very complicated problem, the setup to be able to run little test applications and to be able to fix bugs was super, super simple. To run the actual whole application was really hard, but to run little bits was really, really trivial, and it allowed me to be very successful despite it being 100% custom JavaScript. There was no frameworks. We didn't even have Grunt. I introduced Grunt like 6 months into this process, so even the build process was a bespoke script. And so it's like, why was I able to be so useful so quick? Maybe there is something about this that's really interesting. Like, maybe this idea of spending 1 hour, maybe that's not fair. But maybe saying if every single time you have to do something in your system, you have to spend hours just getting up to speed on how this particular part works, maybe there's something that's a little bit goofy about the whole situation. If you can't run it fast, debug it fast, then something's wrong. Maybe that's a better way of saying it, is that if you can't run and debug fast, then something's wrong. Because there's always some amount of hours spent just learning the thought process of how somebody arrived to this conclusion, especially if it's something complex. Like, imagine if you were given a kerning bug on a kerning system. There's like so much stuff you'd have to learn first before you could even become remotely useful. But if they had a really simple running system, you potentially could solve the kerning bug not even knowing about kerning.